Hi there. You want to do some jiu-jitsu at home, but you're not sure what that looks like. Well, you're very correct, because jiu-jitsu is something that you do with another person. And unlike a lot of other martial arts like boxing, the solo drills are simply different. Okay, you could work on punches all day if you were boxing, but it's not really the same when you do jiu-jitsu. So I'm going to show you though some things that you can do that will improve your mobility for jiu-jitsu, because there are a set number of solo drills that will help you get better at the movements without a person, but it's just always with that caveat that you are doing this without a person. So, you do your best to work on it, but ultimately the only real way to genuinely and sincerely long-term get better at jiu-jitsu is you got to practice with another person, because that's just the nature of the art form. But let's get started with first just looking at the bridge. Okay, the bridge is a fundamental movement. There's a lot of variations to the bridge, but I'll start with looking at the bridge mechanics, particularly when we think about it from the mount. So I start flat on the ground when I practice this, because I want that to be a part of my understanding of this. I'm bringing my toes up to my butt. This is important that I'm practicing this. Many people come very shallow, so the bridge never gets very high. So I'm coming in, my hips turn. Okay, I'm getting a turn in my tailbone here. My shoulders pull away from my ears, and then one of my ears, I just turn my left ear towards my left shoulder. From here, I'm going to engage my legs, and I want to go slow. This is more isometric than ballistic. I'm going nice and slow. I come all the way up here. Good. And I'm going to come back down. And as I'm going up, I'm lifting each vertebrae one at a time, okay? Think isometrics here, not ballistics and speed, okay? It's not important that my bridge be fast. So nice and slow again, bring my toes up. I go to the other side, pulling my shoulders away, okay? Turn my tailbone up, and then nice and slow. Now let's do that with a finish. The finish is going to look like this. Bring my toes up, head and shoulders in position, tailbone coming up and through. And when I go through, I want to turn so that I kind of land in this slightly less than beautiful position. I call this the whale position as I land, all right? But my goal is to get that hip to the ground all the way through. So watch again, up, 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 up. I want that hip to land first. Then you can let everything else down. So you can pause it here and do maybe 10 to each side. You're getting that hip all the way through, making it hit the ground, making sure that that's what's getting the first contact. And that may be hard at first, okay? We're going to move on to the shrimp. The shrimp is similar. I'm going to take this angle so you can see where my legs are going here. I'm coming to my toes. My heel is off the ground here, but I really need, I can't bring my foot up like this. I need to bring my foot outside my body, okay? Outside the basic silhouette of my body. My knee is up. And what I'm going to do with this is my knee goes down. I'm not bridging. I don't make my hip come up. My knee goes down because that's turning me on my side. And you can see now my shoulders are stacked. If I want to, I can turn this toe into the ground too. I'll take another angle in a second so you can see that. But what I'm doing here is I'm going to lift myself off the ground. I only need to get off the ground about this much. All right, get just a little off the ground. And now from here, I'm going to move my butt away, and I end up in this position at the end. Again, it's not ballistic. We're learning how to move effectively. And if you go slow, you'll actually get a better workout than if you go fast most of the time, because this is isometrics, okay? Going slow, you're going to have a far less likely chance of getting injured, too. So I'm here. I bring this toe up. My body goes down like this, and I get long, all right? Now, from my toe to my shoulder, the body comes off the ground. And then from here, I'm moving my hip away, all right? Show it from another angle, that'll help. Here, here, I'm up off the ground, sliding back, okay? Other angle, here, there's a little lift, coming out, okay? You can bring this foot in and come back, that's fine, but notice that I am off the ground, okay? In both situations when I go, there's space underneath me. If I try to push through the floor, it's too hard. So there's a little bit of space, which allows me to come down. And that is the shrimp. You're gonna use that in a lot of different positions to reassess your position. And a big part of that is you're rotating the shoulders up so that they're stacked, okay? Another type of shrimp is called the reverse shrimp. Now I'm belly down. I'm gonna put one foot up, just gonna bring it up as high as I can, okay? And then what I do with my hands doesn't have to be that important. But I'm gonna bring this knee through and under, and again, it's a similar kind of thing, like I'm lifting my body up so that my knee can come through. And I'm gonna take it up, 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 over, 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 touch, come through, over, come through, over. When I'm going over, I don't want to like cut like that. I want a nice big circle. Boom. My shoulders need to rotate. Shoulders are moving. Just watch my shoulders. Shoulder rotation the whole way through. I'm turning all the way on my side. I'm not like this and then trying to go, that's hard. My shoulders move, and now my shoulders move again. And that's the reverse shrimp. We're getting used to being able to use our hips and scoop people up and move them around. There's another version of the reverse shrimp that I kind of call the iron pillow reverse shrimp, because I'm going to put my hands straight out. I'm going to put my head, connect my ear to my arm. My head is off the ground. I'm going to put that foot up again, and I'm going to come under. All right. Come over, put sorry. See, I'm here, I brought this up, bring this through. And you can just stop here on this one, okay? Roll back, belly down, put this up, bring this through. And you can stop, you can come out, you could keep going back and forth, but the main thing is to get used to the idea of going from here to here, and turning myself from up to down, okay? I can go from here. Another option is I can put this arm down, thread this leg through, and I'm back down here, okay? Bring this through, whoop, whoop. I'm just going belly down. And this would be like threading the needle. I'm just getting used to bringing my leg under. Each time though I'm bringing this arm up, having an iron pillow up here. You'll learn in class why the iron pillow is useful. That was a little disjointed. That was the threading the needle there. Next we're gonna move to, this is probably the most vigorous part of the whole video series, which is rolling. Just getting used to rolling like this, just like a kid. Just getting back to being able to move like this. For some people, this is going to be very difficult. But this is the lightest version of this. And if this is hard, maybe you're just trying to be like this, getting your butt and your head off the ground. That can be a challenge for some people in the start. We're going to move that up though. We've got a whole series of things we can do with the roll. Another thing we can do with the roll is the rocking chair. I'm going to put my hands on my shoulders. I'm going to roll back and turn myself in the air in another direction. I try to do it as slow as I can. Again, we're trying to isometrically move. So when I hit my shoulders, my hips turn, which turns my body. So like my knees and my hips are doing that little shift. I'll usually do one circle in one direction, do a circle in another direction. Another thing we can do with the rolls is starting here, I'm letting my body, my back shoots out, so each vertebrae hits. hands are gonna hit the ground. My head is gonna rotate out of the way. And now my feet are gonna come up and over. Let's look at that again. I'm coming down one vertebrae at a time. Now, for people who are just starting off with this, it may be hard to go slow with this, okay? So you may need to go and use the momentum to let your legs come over. Start like that, you know, where you're rolling it back. You can even go a little faster, slap with your hands to help out. But over time, I want to get this to where I can do it, again, isometrically, nice and slow. Head out of the way so that my legs can come over. I want to shoot my legs this way. Slow, 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 slow. Now we can come back the other way. I'm here on my hands and my knees. My hands are going to spread out till my shoulder can hit the ground. I turn my head on one side, my shoulder's hitting the ground. And now I'm going to let my hips roll up over my head. Again, in here, my head spread out. I get my shoulder and my head separated. It's a bit of a stretch here. And then I'm going to start to put weight up on that, nice and slow. Just gonna walk yourself closer, nice and slow, until you're gonna feel your body wants to roll over. All right? You may need to do that a little faster initially to be good at it. You might have to kind of go, and that's okay. Our long-term goal is gonna be, switch my head, but just make it easy. Start with rolling, build up to that. At any point in this video, you can pause, do like 10 or 15 or however many you feel like doing, but you know, you don't have to just do one or two. You can do a few. I'm just trying to be expedient here. All right, I'm gonna get a little prop. Working on just some basic core strength. A lot of people have you do a plank. I'm gonna have you do a reverse plank of sorts. Put your feet on an elevated position. It could be a lot higher than this, but this is good enough to get what I want done. I'm gonna push my heels into those pillows to bring my hips off the ground. I want my toes curled back like this. And I'm just gonna, you know, hold this for a little while. Maybe hold it for 10, 15 seconds to begin with. Maybe you build up to holding it for a minute or two. We want to get used to this ability to bring our hips off the ground, okay? By basing on another object. This is a pretty critical skill. Shouldn't be too hard, but you know, if you haven't moved your body like that in a long time, could be a real challenge. Next, we're gonna move to one of my favorites, what I call the lazy sit-up. A sit-up is typically like that, and you can do sit-ups. It won't really make you better at jiu-jitsu, but it'll build up some core strength. But I want to move in jiu-jitsu with as little energy as possible. So I'm going to crouch to the side, hand goes back, palm down, and I'm looking at my hand, and I'm bringing my shoulder over my shoulder. My elbow is pushing into the mat, and it is replaced by my hand pushing me up. And you see how I came up with torque, with an angle in my shoulder. I'm not like this coming forward. I want to be like this. All right. Going back down and reverse. So again, I'm reaching back. And I really want this shoulder line to be coming up, like almost like I'm driving a shoulder up into someone, which is exactly what we're going to do when we put this into something like the hip bump sweep. Okay. What else? Okay, just a basic training thing that you can do to strengthen your shoulders and your hips and everything. When I go on my hands and my feet, I'm gonna lift opposite hand, opposite foot, and I'm gonna bring that foot through. I'm in like a crab position. I lift feet and hands, and you'll feel like, oh, a little unstable. we're building up our stabilizers here. Just kind of moving like this. And I go in the opposite direction. Getting used to this feeling of reversing our body's position. It's going to be good. Build up your balance, build up your strength. Now, a little bit of a move with that is the technical stand-up. I'm going to start totally flat. Feet up. Do my lazy sit-up all the way up. I get my hand nice and close to my hip. I put one hand in front of me like this. From here, I'm on hand and foot. I bring that foot down close to my own hand. I'm getting up. Again, slow movements with these things. Practice just being up here. I feel comfortable. This foot fairly close to my hand. I don't want it way out wide. I want to stand up in a fairly reasonable stance. One variation on this that's worth practicing is the elbow technical stand-up. Everything is about the same. I'm just going to come to the elbow now. I still want to get good shoulder rotation in here. But from here, I'm only going to prop up on the elbow. I want to get it close. If I get it too close, I fall down. So I need good structure there. But now from here, I'm going to lift, go to my knee, okay? From here, get myself upright, all right? Okay, now we're going to do a little bit of standing stuff. So let me loosen this a little. We're going to look at another thing, which is we don't do in foundations a whole lot of combat stance stuff, but there are some important principles to learn here for when you actually clinch and connect with people in control positions, which is just getting some bend in your knees, okay? And getting used to this. Even if you do squats and deadlifts, you're not going to be, this is not a natural way of standing. You're not going to be used to having that little bend in your knee. I kind of want my shoulder over my knee. I just learn and get used to moving shoulders over the knees, a little bend in my knee. You can set a timer. So while you're watching TV, just get used to moving like this. Always keeping my feet about a minimum of shoulder length apart. I don't ever let my legs get in close like this. I'm getting used to moving like this. When you clinch and you grab people, you're gonna want your legs to move like this. It's gonna give you a lot of power. The other thing I'm going to do with my back is I have a slight, we call this the cow back. Shoulders back a little, hips come back just a little bit, not crazy, just a little bit of this activation. And it's basically the same if I wanted to squat something. This allows me to take pressure from another person pushing into me. What I absolutely don't want is the cat back, okay? And I start moving like this. This is really easy. Someone pulls on my head, they can break me down. People start fighting like this a lot of time. It feels good, but I'm actually very easy to pull off center or to push around. Whereas this posture, a very non-intuitive posture, gives me a lot of ability to push, control, move people because my legs can flow up through my body. So just moving around like that. And what I want to add on to that is what I call a squat step. I've got my combat stance, and I'm gonna just step my legs a little wider, and I move my hips in like that. So I lift, squat, stretch away, squat, stretch away. And there's just a lot of spaces in jiu-jitsu standing where I'm gonna wanna do that. Anytime I wanna get my head under something, I want this squat step. I don't wanna get my head under something by doing this. Because this broken posture, if someone pulls here, they're gonna pull me down or they're gonna grab my head and choke me, which I don't want. So I try to keep my head in standing in an upright position at all times, eyes forward like a predator, okay? Eyes down, that's for the grazers, right? So you're a predator. All right. Last thing we're gonna work on is getting back to one of the positions that you're gonna have to be able to do any amount of jiu-jitsu long term is you're gonna have to be able to sit like this. Some people see this and they're like, oh, like this, it's upsetting just to look at this posture, okay? It's a natural human posture to be able to sit like this. People in like Japan and Korea, well, in Japan in particular, a lot of people in their homes might eat dinner this way, all right? So you can get here. I would say pretty much everyone's gonna be able to get here. Maybe less than 1% cannot. You may have limitations in your hips, flexibility-wise, and that's from sitting in chairs for your whole life. You'll feel some pull in your knees, and that's all natural. And so just sitting like this is good, but if this is a real challenge for you at the onset to do that, I recommend put some pillows between your butt and your heels. It'll be a little more elevated, but it's kind of it'll be less aggravating if you have not sat like this since you were like a child. Flip on the TV, watch some stuff, you know, take it easy. Like that'll allow you to be here for a longer period of time and start to loosen up everything in your legs to make this easier and easier. Another way that have done this in the past is to kind of bunch the pillow up like that, like you're kind of squeezing it now and sitting like that, okay? And that can also kind of loosen, just give you time. Like this is pretty comfy. I could sit here for hours and hours and hours. I feel like this is comfortable, right? So I want to make that comfortable. Some people like to put a towel right under their ankles or something like that, but ultimately you're going to have to be able to sit that way inside the closed guard, or you'll always be forward and people will always be able to pull you up. So building that up little by little is going to be important. Let's finish off with just a little bit of rudimentary stretching here. Nothing exhaustive, but you know, stretching should be simple. Simple enough that you can do it regularly. When I learned stretching, it was that there's basically 6 ways to stretch the spine. And I feel like if you've only got a little bit of time, this is a great way to approach this. So if I want to stretch my spine, it can go 1, 2, 3, 4, and then finally it can be 5 and 6. So let's just think about stretching in the most simple way. We just want to get a balance of those 6. So we'll start off with just some toe touches. So we just come down, maybe give a little bend in your knees, relax your lower back, relax your upper back, just breathe into that. Nice and easy. We'll come up. Great. I've stretched my spine in that direction. We'll come down to the ground for the next one. I think a pretty critical stretch. Just put my hands at my shoulders, push it off the mat, and just try to get a nice, I'm trying to really put a curve in my back so my chest is pushing forward here. My chin is going towards the ceiling. This is a really good one if you sat in a chair for too long. All right. I want to twist side to side a little bit, so I'm going to put the right foot over the left knee. I'm going to put the left hand over the right knee. Some of you may have just gone in the opposite direction. Check yourself. Is the top leg opposite the top arm? All right. Hand goes behind you. You try to turn your head away into the stretch. Each time, hold that for maybe 10 seconds. Left foot over the right knee. Right hand over the left knee. Turn my head away. Getting a nice twist here. Our last thing, we just want to get some side to side stretching in. I'm going to come up. Keep it simple, but you can put your hands together. Turn the palms up. I'm going to turn to the right side. What I'm trying to do is make this push out as this contracts, right? There we go. You can lift this heel on this side. Coming up. Stretch up. Go to this side. And that's some just really good basic stretching that if you're just doing that on top of this additional mobility, you want to focus on improving the flexibility of your spine first and foremost. And if I can get spinal stretch and leg stretch at the same time, that's getting my hamstrings nice and loose. Sitting in that seated position on my heels is gonna stretch out my hamstrings. We've covered a lot of stuff there. I mean, if you want more stretching, you should come check out our yoga program, which has assisted stretching that's actually pushing you through it and will actually help loosen you up quite a bit more. But generally, the mobility that you're doing in jiu-jitsu class will improve your flexibility, even though you may not be doing specific static hold stretches. Right? I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions about anything that you saw here, reach out to me anytime. Okay, bye.